Hello, this is Brian Tracy. This program is for ambitious people who want to get ahead faster. If this is the way you think and feel, you are the person for whom this program is designed. The ideas contained in the sessions ahead will save you years of hard work in achieving the goals that are most important to you. I've personally spoken more than 2,000 times before audiences of as many as 23,000 people in 24 countries. My seminars and talks have varied in length from 5 minutes to 5 days. In every case, I focused on sharing the best ideas I could find on the particular subject with that audience at that moment. After countless talks on various themes, if I was only given 5 minutes to speak to you, and I could only convey one thought that would help you to be more successful, I would tell you to write down your goals, make plans to achieve them, and work on your plans every single day. This advice, if you followed it, would be of more help to you than anything else you could ever learn. Many university graduates have told me that this simple concept has been more valuable to them than 4 years of study. This idea has changed my life and the lives of millions of other people, and it will change yours as well. A group of successful men got together in Chicago some time ago, talking about the experiences of their lives. All of them were millionaires and multimillionaires. Like most successful people, they were both humble and grateful for what they had achieved and for the blessings that life had bestowed upon them. As they discussed the reasons why they had managed to achieve so much in life, the wisest man among them spoke up and said that, in his estimate, success is goals, and all else is commentary. Your time and your life are precious. The biggest waste of time and life is for you to spend years accomplishing something that you could have achieved in only a few months. By following the practical, proven process of goal setting and goal achieving laid out in this program, you will be able to accomplish vastly more in a shorter period of time than you ever imagined possible. The speed at which you move onward and upward will amaze both yourself and all the people around you. By following these simple and easy-to-apply methods and techniques, you can move quickly from rags to riches in the months and years ahead. You can transform your experience from poverty and frustration to affluence and satisfaction. You can go far beyond your friends and family and achieve more in life than most other people you know. In my talks and seminars and consulting, I've worked with more than 2 million people all around the world. I have found over and over that an average person with clear goals will run circles around a genius who is not sure what he or she really wants. My personal mission statement has not changed in years. It is simply this: to help people achieve their goals faster than they ever would in the absence of my help. This program contains the distilled essence of all that I have learned in the areas of success, achievement, and goal attainment. By following the steps explained in the sessions ahead, you will move to the front of the line of life. For my children, this program is meant to be a roadmap and a guide to help you get from wherever you are to wherever you want to go. For my friends and listeners to this program, my reason for designing it is to give you a proven system that you can use to move on to the fast track in your own life. Welcome. A great new adventure is about to begin. This is a wonderful time to be alive. There have never been more opportunities for creative and determined people to achieve more of their goals than they can today. Regardless of short-term ups and downs in the economy and in your life, we are entering into an age of peace and prosperity superior to any previous era in human history. In the year 1900, there were 5,000 millionaires in America. By the year 2000, there were more than 5 million millionaires, most of them self-made, in one generation. Experts predict that there will be another 10 to 20 million millionaires created in the next 2 decades. Your goal should be to become one of them. This program will show you how. When I was 18, I left high school without graduating. My first job was as a dishwasher in the back of a small hotel. From there, I moved on to washing cars and then washing floors with a janitorial service. For the next few years, I drifted and worked at various laboring jobs, earning my living by the sweat of my brow. I worked in sawmills and factories. I worked on farms and ranches. I worked in the tall timber with a chainsaw and dug wells when the logging season ended. I worked as a construction laborer on tall buildings and as a seaman on a Norwegian freighter in the North Atlantic. Often I slept in my car or in cheap rooming houses. When I was 23, I was working as an itinerant farm laborer during the harvest, sleeping on the hay in the barn and eating with the farmer's family. I was uneducated, unskilled, and, at the end of the harvest, unemployed once more. When I could no longer find a laboring job, I got a job in straight commission sales, cold calling from office to office and from door to door. I would often work all day long to make a single sale so that I could pay for my rooming house and have a place to sleep that night. This was not a great start at life. Then one day I took out a piece of paper and wrote down an outrageous goal for myself. It was to earn $1,000 per month in door-to-door and office-to-office selling. I folded up the piece of paper, put it away, and never found it again. But 30 days later, my entire life had changed. During that time, I discovered a technique for closing sales that tripled my income from the very first day. Meanwhile, the owner of my company sold out to an entrepreneur who had just moved into town. Exactly 30 days after I had written down my goal, he took me aside and offered me $1,000 per month to head up the sales force and teach the other people what it was that I was doing that enabled me to be selling so much more than anyone else. I accepted his offer, and from that day forward, my life was never the same. Within 18 months, I had moved from that job to another, and then to another. I went from personal selling to becoming a sales manager with people selling for me. I recruited and built a 95-person sales force. I went literally from worrying about my next meal to walking around with a pocket full of $20 bills. I began teaching my salespeople how to write out their goals and how to sell more effectively. In almost no time at all, they doubled and tripled and increased their incomes as much as 10 times. Many of them are today millionaires and multimillionaires. It's important to note that since those days in my early 20s, my life has not been a smooth series of upward steps. It has included many ups and downs, marked by occasional successes and temporary failures. I have traveled, lived, and worked in more than 80 countries, learning French, German, and Spanish along the way and working in 22 different fields. As a result of inexperience and sometimes sheer stupidity, I have spent or lost everything I made and had to start over again several times. In every case when this happened, I would begin by sitting down with a piece of paper and laying out a new set of goals for myself using the methods that I'll explain in the sessions ahead. After several years of hit and miss goal setting and goal achieving, I finally decided to collect everything I had learned into a single system. By assembling these ideas and strategies in one place, I developed a goal-setting methodology and process with a beginning, middle, and end, and began to follow it every day. Within 1 year, following this blueprint for goal achieving, my life had changed once more. In January of that year, to start, I was living in a rented apartment with rented furniture. I was $35,000 in debt and driving a used car that wasn't paid for. By December of that year, I was living in my own $100,000 condominium. I had a new Mercedes, had paid off all my debts, and I had $50,000 in the bank. Then I really got serious about success. I realized that this goal-setting stuff was incredibly powerful. I invested hundreds and thousands of hours reading and researching on goal setting and goal achieving, synthesizing the best ideas I could find into a complete goal setting and achieving process that worked with incredible effectiveness. In 1981, I began teaching my system in workshops and seminars that have now reached more than 2 million people in 35 countries. I began audio taping and videotaping my courses so that others could use them. We have now trained hundreds of thousands of people in these principles in multiple languages all over the world. What I found was that these ideas work everywhere for everyone in virtually every country, no matter what your education, experience, or background may be when you begin. Most of all, these ideas have made it possible for me and many thousands of others to take complete control over our lives. The regular and systematic practice of goal setting has taken us from poverty to prosperity, from frustration to fulfillment, from underachievement to success and satisfaction. This system will do the same for you. What I learned early on is that any plan is better than no plan at all, and it is not necessary to reinvent the wheel. All the answers have already been found. There are hundreds of thousands and even millions of men and women who have started with nothing and achieved great success following these principles. And what others have done, you can do as well if you just learn how. In the sessions ahead, you will learn 21 of the most important ideas and strategies ever discovered for achieving everything you could ever want in life. You will find that there are no limits to what you can accomplish except for the limits you place on your own imagination. And since there are no limits to what you can imagine, there are no limits to what you can achieve. This is one of the greatest discoveries of all. Let us begin. As Confucius said, a journey of 1,000 leagues begins with a single step. Part 1. Unlock your potential. Success is goals, and all else is commentary. All successful people are intensely goal-oriented. They know what they want, and they are focused single-mindedly on achieving it every single day. Your ability to set goals is the master skill of success. Goals unlock your positive mind and release ideas and energy for goal attainment. Without goals, you simply drift and flow on the currents of life. But with goals, you fly like an arrow straight and true to your target. The truth is that you probably have more natural potential than you could use if you lived 100 lifetimes. Whatever you have accomplished up until now is only a small fraction of what is truly possible for you. One of the great rules for success is this: it doesn't matter where you're coming from. All that really matters is where you're going. And where you are going is solely determined by yourself and your own thoughts. Clear goals increase your confidence, develop your competence, and boost your levels of motivation. As sales trainer Tom Hopkins says, goals are the fuel in the furnace of achievement. Perhaps the greatest discovery in human history is the power of your mind to create the aspects of your life. Everything you see around you in the man-made world began as a thought or an idea in the mind of a single person before it was translated into reality. Everything in your life started as a thought, a wish, a hope, a dream, either in your mind or in the mind of someone else. Your thoughts are creative. Your thoughts form and shape your world and everything that happens to you. The great summary statement of all religions, philosophies, metaphysics, psychology, and success was said by Ralph Waldo Emerson and repeated by Earl Nightingale for many years, is simply this: you become what you think about most of the time. Your outer world ultimately becomes a reflection of your inner world and mirrors back to you what you think about most of the time. Whatever you think about continuously emerges in your reality. Many thousands of successful people have been asked what it is that they think about most of the time. The most common answer given by successful people is that they think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. On the other hand, unsuccessful, unhappy people think and talk about what they don't want most of the time. They talk about their problems and their worries and who is to blame most of the time. But successful people keep their thoughts and conversation on the topics of their most intensely desired goals. They think and talk about what they want most of the time. Living without clear goals is like driving in a thick fog. No matter how powerful or well-engineered your car, you drive slowly, hesitantly, making little progress on even the smoothest road. Deciding upon your goals clears the fog immediately and allows you to focus and channel your energies and abilities. Clear goals enable you to step on the accelerator of your own life and leap ahead rapidly toward achieving more of the things you really want. Imagine this exercise. You take a homing pigeon out of its roost, put it in a cage, cover the cage with a blanket, put the cage in a box, and then place the box into a closed truck cab. You can then drive 1,000 miles in any direction. If you then open the truck cab, take out the box, take off the blanket, and let the homing pigeon out of the cage, the homing pigeon will fly up into the air, circle 3 times, and then fly unerringly back to its home roost 1,000 miles away. This is the only creature on Earth that has this incredible cybernetic, goal-seeking function in its brain, except for man. You have the same goal-achieving ability as the homing pigeon, but with one marvelous addition. When you are absolutely clear about your goal, you don't even have to know where it is or how it is to be achieved. By simply deciding exactly what it is you want, you will begin to move unerringly toward your goal, and your goal will start to move unerringly toward you. At exactly the right time, and in exactly the right place, you and the goal will meet. Because of this incredible cybernetic mechanism located deep within your mind, you always achieve your goals, whatever they are. You move toward them, and they move toward you. If your goal is to get home at night and watch television, you will almost certainly achieve it. If your goal is to create a wonderful life full of health, happiness, and prosperity, you'll achieve that as well. Like a computer, your goal-seeking mechanism is non-judgmental. It works automatically and continuously to bring you what you want, regardless of what you program into it. Nature doesn't care about the size or scope of your goals. If you set little goals, your automatic goal-achieving mechanism will enable you to achieve little goals. If you set large goals, this natural capability will enable you to achieve large goals. The size, scope, and detail of the goals you choose to think about most of the time is completely up to you. Here's a good question. If goal setting is automatic, why is it that so few people have clear, written, measurable, time-bounded goals that they work toward each day? This is one of the great mysteries of life. I believe there are 4 reasons why people don't set goals. First, most people don't realize the importance of goals. If you grow up in a home where no one has goals, or you socialize with a group where goals are neither discussed nor valued, you can very easily reach adulthood without knowing that your ability to set and achieve goals will have more of an effect on your life than any other skill. Look around you. How many of your friends or family members are clear and committed to their goals? The second reason that people don't have goals is because they don't know how to set them in the first place. Even worse, many people think that they already have goals when in reality what they actually have is a series of wishes or dreams like be happy or make a lot of money or have a nice family life. But these are not goals at all. They are merely fantasies that are common to everyone. A goal, however, is something distinctly different from a wish. A goal is clear, written, and specific. It can quickly and easily be described to another person. You can measure it, and you know when you have achieved it or not. It's possible to take an advanced degree at a leading university without ever receiving 1 hour of instruction on goal setting. It's almost as if the people who determine the educational content of our schools and universities are completely blind to the importance of goal setting in achieving success later in life. And of course, if you never hear about goals until you're an adult, as I experienced, you'll have no idea how important they are to everything you do. The third reason that people don't set goals is because of the fear of failure. Now, the fact is, failure hurts. It is emotionally and often financially painful and distressing. Everyone has had failure experiences from time to time. Each time, they resolve to be more careful next time and to avoid failure experiences in the future. They then make the mistake of unconsciously sabotaging themselves by not setting any goals at which they might fail. They end up going through life functioning at far lower levels than are truly possible for them. The fourth reason that people don't set goals is because of the fear of rejection. People are afraid that if they set a goal and are not successful, others will criticize or ridicule them. This is one of the reasons why, when you begin to set goals, you should keep your goals confidential. Don't tell anyone. Let them see by your results and achievements what you have accomplished, but don't tell them in advance. What they don't know can't hurt you. Mark McCormick, in his book, What They Don't Teach You at the Harvard Business School, tells of a Harvard study conducted between 1979 and 1989. In 1979, the graduates of the MBA program at Harvard were asked, "Have you set clear written goals for your future and made plans to accomplish them?" It turned out that only 3% of the graduates had written goals and plans. 13% had goals, but they were not in writing. Fully 84% had no specific goals at all, aside from getting out of school and enjoying the summer. 10 years later, in 1989, they interviewed the members of that class again. They found that the 13% who had goals, but which were not in writing, were earning on average twice as much as the 84% of students who had no goals at all. But most surprisingly, they found that the 3% of graduates who had clear written goals when they left Harvard were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% of graduates altogether. The only difference between the groups was the clarity of the goals they had for themselves when they started out. The importance of clarity is easy to understand. Imagine arriving on the outskirts of a large city and being told to drive to a particular home or office in that city. But here's the catch. There are no road signs and you have no map of the city. In fact, all you were given is a very general description of the home or office that is your goal. Here's the question. How long do you think it would take you to find a home or office in a city without a road map or without road signs? The answer is probably your whole life. If you ever did find the home or office, it would be very much a matter of luck. And sadly enough, this is the way most people live their lives. The average person starts life traveling through an unmapped and uncharted world with no road map. This is the equivalent of starting off in life with no goals and plans. He or she simply figures things out as he or she goes along. Often, 10 or 20 years of work will go past and the individual is still broke, unhappy in his or her job, dissatisfied with his or her marriage, and making little progress. And still, he or she goes home every night and watches television, wishing and hoping that things would get better. But they seldom do. Not by themselves. Earl Nightingale once wrote, "Happiness is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal or goal. You only feel truly happy when you are making progress step by step towards something that's important to you." Viktor Frankl, the founder of logotherapy, wrote that the greatest need of the human being is for a sense of meaning and purpose in life. Goals give you a sense of meaning and purpose. Goals give you a sense of direction. As you move toward your goals, you feel happier and stronger. You feel more energized and effective. You feel more confident and competent in yourself and your abilities. Every step you take toward your goals increases your belief that you can set and achieve even bigger goals in the future. More people today fear change and worry about the future than at any other time in our history. One of the great benefits of goal setting is that goals enable you to control the direction of change in your life. Goals enable you to assure that the changes in your life are largely self-determined and self-directed. Goals enable you to instill meaning and purpose into everything you do. One of the most important teachings of Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, was that man is a teleological organism. The word teleos in Greek means goals. What Aristotle concluded was that all human action is purposeful in some way. You are only happy when you are doing something that is moving you towards something that you want. The great questions then become, what are your goals? What purposes are you aiming at? Where do you want to end up at the end of the day? Your inborn potential is extraordinary. You have within you right now the ability to achieve almost any goal that you can set for yourself. Your greatest responsibility to yourself is to invest whatever time is required to become absolutely clear about exactly what it is you want and how you can best achieve it. The greater clarity you have regarding your true goals, the more of your potential you will unleash for good in your life. You've probably heard it said that the average person uses only 10% of his or her potential. The sad fact is that according to Stanford University, the average person functions with only about 2% of his or her mental potential. The remainder just sits there in reserve, being saved up for some later time. This would be exactly as if your parents had left you a trust fund with $100,000 in it, but all you ever took out to spend was $2,000. The other $98,000 simply sat in the account, unused throughout your life. The starting point of all goal attainment is desire. You must develop an intense, burning desire for your goals if you really want to achieve them. It is only when your desire becomes intense enough that you will have the energy and the internal drive to overcome all the obstacles that will arise in your path. The good news is that almost anything that you want long enough and hard enough, you can ultimately achieve. The great oil billionaire H.L. Hunt was once asked the secret of success. He replied that success requires two things and two things only. First, he said, you must know exactly what it is you want. Most people never make this decision. Second, he said, you must determine the price that you will have to pay to achieve it, and then get busy paying that price. Life is more like a buffet or cafeteria than it is a restaurant. In a restaurant, you eat the complete dinner and then you pay the bill. But in a buffet or cafeteria, you have to serve yourself and pay in full before you enjoy the meal. Many people make the mistake of thinking that they will pay the price after they have experienced the success. They sit in front of the stove of life and say, "First give me some heat, and then I'll put in some wood." As motivational speaker Zig Ziglar once said, "The elevator to success is out of service, but the stairs are always open." Another important observation from Aristotle was his conclusion that the ultimate purpose of all human action is the achievement of personal happiness. Whatever you do, he said, is aimed at increasing your happiness in some way. You may or may not be successful in achieving your happiness, but your happiness is always your ultimate aim. Setting goals, working toward them day by day, and ultimately achieving them is the key to happiness in life. Goal setting is so powerful that the very act of thinking about your goals makes you happy, even before you've taken the first step toward achieving them. To unlock and unleash your full potential, you should make a habit of daily goal setting and achieving for the rest of your life. You should develop a laser-like focus so that you are always thinking and talking about the things you want rather than the things that you don't want. You must resolve from this moment on to be a goal-seeking organism like a guided missile or a homing pigeon, moving unerringly toward the things that are important to you. There's no greater guarantee of a long, happy, healthy, and prosperous life than for you to be continually working on being, having, and achieving more and more of the things you really want. Clear goals enable you to release your full potential for personal and professional success. Goals enable you to overcome any obstacle and to make your future unlimited. Now, here are 3 things you can do immediately to put these ideas into action. First, imagine that you have the inborn ability to achieve any goal you could ever set for yourself. What do you really want to be, have, and do? Second, look at your personal life and work today and identify how your own thinking has created your world. What should you, what could you change? And third, determine the price that you will have to pay to achieve the goals that are most important to you, and then get busy paying that price. My favorite word in goal setting, and in success in general, is the word clarity. There's a direct relationship between the level of clarity you have about who you are and what you want, and virtually everything you accomplish in life. Superior men and women invest the time necessary to develop absolute clarity about themselves and what they really want, like designing a detailed blueprint for a building before they begin construction. Average people just throw themselves at life like a dog chasing a passing car, and wonder why they never seem to catch anything or keep anything worthwhile. Henry David Thoreau once wrote, "Have you built your castles in the air? Good. That's where they should be built. Now, go to work and build foundations under them." In this session, you begin to crystallize your visions and values into concrete goals and objectives that you can work on every single day. Earlier I mentioned that intense, burning desire is absolutely essential to the overcoming of obstacles and the achieving of great goals. For your desire to be intense enough, your goals must be purely personal. They must be goals that you choose for yourself, rather than goals that someone else wants for you or that you want to achieve to please someone in your life. In goal setting, for the process to be effective, you must be perfectly selfish about what it is that you really, really want for yourself. This doesn't mean that you cannot do things for other people, either at home or at work. This simply means that in setting goals for your life, you start with yourself and work forward. One of the most important questions in goal setting is this: what do I really want to do with my life? If you could do or be or have anything at all in life, what would it be? Remember, you can't hit a target you can't see. You should return to this question over and over in the months and years ahead. Ask yourself, what do I really want to do with my life? In determining your true goals, you start with your vision, your values, and your ideals. When you begin, these will often feel a bit like fantasies, detached from reality. However, now your job is to make them concrete, like designing a dream house on paper. You start with your general goals and then move to more specific goals. For example, what are your 3 most important goals in your business and career right now? What are your 3 most important financial goals right now? What are your 3 most important family or relationship goals right now? And what are your 3 most important health and fitness goals right now? The flip side of the above questions is for you to ask, what are my 3 biggest worries or concerns in life right now? What bothers you, worries you, concerns you, and preoccupies you in your day-to-day life? What aggravates or irritates you? What is robbing you of happiness more than anything else? As a friend of mine often asks, where does it hurt? Once you've identified your biggest problems, worries, or concerns, you ask yourself, what are the ideal solutions to each of my problems? How could I eliminate these problems or worries immediately? What is the fastest and most direct way to solve this problem? In 1142, William of Ockham, a British philosopher, proposed a method of problem solving that has come to be referred to as Occam's razor. This way of thinking has become famous and popular throughout the ages. What Occam said was this: the simplest and most direct solution, requiring the fewest number of steps, is usually the correct solution to any problem. Many people make the mistake of overcomplicating goals and problems, but the more complicated the solution, the less likely it is to ever be implemented, and the longer the time it will take to get any results. Your aim should be to simplify the solution and go directly to the goal as quickly as possible. For example, many people tell me they would like to double their incomes. If they are in sales, I ask them, what is the fastest and most direct way to double your income? After they've come up with a series of suggestions, I give them what I consider to be the best answer. Double the amount of time that you spend face-to-face with qualified prospects. The most direct way to increase your sales has always been the same. Spend more time with better prospects. If you don't upgrade your skills or change anything else about what you are doing, but you double the number of minutes that you spend face-to-face with prospects each day, you will probably double your sales and double your income. According to studies that go back as far as 1928, the average salesperson today spends 90 minutes each day face-to-face with prospects. The highest-paid salespeople spend 2 or 3 times that amount. They organize their days efficiently to assure that they spend more minutes in the presence of people who can and will buy their products or services. And the more time they spend with prospects and customers, the more skilled they become at selling. The better they get, the more they sell, and the more they earn in less time. If you examined your work, you would find that 20% of what you do accounts for 80% of the value of all the things you do. In my advanced coaching programs, we teach our clients to identify those 20% of activities that contribute the very most value and then do twice as many of them. Instead of using their intelligence to juggle their time and accomplish a greater number of tasks, we teach them to do fewer tasks, but tasks of higher value. Some of our clients double their productivity and subsequently their income in as little as 30 days with this approach, even if they've been working for many years in the same position. Always look for the simplest and most direct way to get from where you are to where you want to go. Look for the solution that has the fewest number of steps. And most of all, take action. Get going, get busy, develop a sense of urgency. The best ideas in the world are of no value until they are implemented. As the poet said, the saddest words of mice and men are these, "It might have been." In determining your true goals, use the magic wand technique. Imagine that you have a magic wand that you can wave over a particular area of your life. When you wave this magic wand, your wishes come true. Wave a magic wand over your business and career. If you could have any 3 wishes in your work, what would they be? Wave a magic wand over your financial life. If you could have any 3 wishes in your financial life, what would they be? Wave a magic wand over your family life and your relationships. If you could have any 3 wishes in this area, what would they be? If your family life was ideal in every respect, what would it look like? Wave a magic wand over your health and fitness. If you could have any 3 wishes with regard to your body and your physical well-being, what would they be? If your health was perfect, how would it be different from today? Wave a magic wand over your skills and abilities. If you could have any 3 skills or abilities developed to a high level, what would they be? In what areas would you like to excel? The magic wand technique is fun on the one hand, but quite revealing on the other. Whenever you imagine that you have a magic wand, your true goals in that area emerge. You can also use this exercise for other people who are not sure about what they want or where they're going. It's amazing what comes out when you ask this question. Here's another goal-setting question that reflects your true values. Imagine that you went to a doctor for a full medical checkup. Your doctor calls you back a few days later and says, "I have good news for you, and I have bad news for you." The good news is that for the next 6 months, you're going to live the healthiest and most energetic life you could possibly imagine. The bad news is that at the end of 180 days, because of an incurable illness, you will drop stone dead. If you learned today that you only had 6 months left to live, how would you spend your last 6 months on earth? Who would you spend the time with? Where would you go? What would you strive to complete? What would you do more of or less of? When you ask yourself this question, what comes to the top of your mind will be a reflection of your true values. your answer would almost always include the most important people in your life. Very few people in this situation would say, well, I'd like to get back to the office and return a few phone calls. In setting your true goals as an extension of imagining that you have no limitations, make up a dream list. A dream list is a list of everything you would like to be, have, or do in your life sometime in the future if you had no limitations at all. Mark Victor Hansen, co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, recommends that you sit down with a pad of paper and make a list of at least 100 goals that you want to accomplish in your lifetime. Then, imagine that you have all the time, all the money, all the friends, all the abilities, and all the resources necessary to achieve these goals. Let yourself dream and fantasize. Just write down everything that you would like to have as if you had no limitations at all. The amazing discovery you will make is that within 30 days after writing out this list of 100 dreams, remarkable things will begin to happen in your life, and your goals will start to be achieved at a rate that you cannot even imagine today. This seems to happen to virtually everyone once they have written down at least 100 goals. You should give it a try. You could be amazed at the results. Here's another goal-setting question. If you won $1 million tomorrow, cash, tax-free, how would you change your life? What would you do differently? What would you get into or out of? What would you do more of or less of? What would be the first thing you would do if you learned today that you had just received $1 million cash? This is another way of asking the question, how would you change your life if you were completely free to choose? The primary reason that we stay in situations that are not the best for us is because we fear change. But when you imagine that you have all the money that you'll ever need to do or be whatever you want, your true goals often emerge. For example, if you are currently in the wrong job for you, the idea of winning a large amount of money would cause you to think about quitting that job immediately. If you were in the right job for you, however, winning a lot of money would not affect your career choice at all. So ask yourself, what would I do if I won $1 million cash, tax-free, tomorrow? Here's another question to help you clarify your true goals. What have you always wanted to do but been afraid to attempt? When you look around your world and you look at other people who are doing things that you admire, what have you always wanted to do as well, but you've been afraid of taking the chance? Have you ever wanted to start your own business? Have you wanted to run for public office? Have you wanted to embark on a new career? What have you always wanted to do, but been afraid to attempt? In setting goals for your life, long and short term, you should continually ask yourself, what do I most enjoy doing in each area of my life? For instance, if you could do just one thing all day long in your work, what would it be? If you could do any job or full-time activity all the time without pay, what would it be? What sort of work or activity gives you the greatest joy and satisfaction? The psychologist Abraham Maslow identified what he called peak experiences. Those moments are times when the individual feels the happiest, the most elated, and exhilarated. One of your aims in life is to enjoy as many peak experiences as possible. You achieve this by thinking back and identifying those moments of peak experience in your past, and then by imagining how you could repeat them in your present and future. What have been your happiest moments in life up to now? How could you have more of those moments in the future? What do you really love to do? You should have goals for social and community involvement and contribution as well. Think about what kind of a difference you would like to make in your world. What organizations, causes, needs, or social problems would you like to work on or work in? What changes would you like to see in your world? Who is there who is less fortunate than you that you would like to help? If you were independently wealthy, what causes would you support? Most of all, what could you do today to begin making a difference in your world? Don't wait until some future date when everything will be ideal. Instead, start today in some way. One of the most important areas of goal setting is your financial life. If you could earn and accumulate all the money you need, you could probably achieve most of your non-financial goals faster and easier than you can today. If your life were ideal, how much money would you like to earn each month, each year? How much would you like to save and invest each month and year? How much would you like to be worth sometime in the future? What sort of estate would you like to accumulate by the time you retire, and when would you like that to be? Most people are hopelessly confused about their financial goals, but when you become absolutely clear about them for yourself, your ability to achieve them increases dramatically. When you are absolutely clear about what you want, you can then think about your goals most of the time. And the more you think about them, the faster they will materialize in your life. This process of asking yourself questions about your goals in each part of your life begins to clarify your thinking and makes you a more focused and definite person. As Zig Ziglar says, you move from being a wandering generality to becoming a meaningful specific. Most of all, you reach the point where you can determine your major definite purpose in life. This is the springboard for great achievement and extraordinary accomplishment. Now, here are 3 things you can do immediately to put these ideas into action. First, write down your 3 most important goals in life right now. Second, if you want $1 million cash, tax-free, tomorrow, what changes in your life would you make immediately? Third, if you could wave a magic wand over your life and have anything you wanted, what would you wish for? Since you become what you think about most of the time, a major definite purpose gives you a focus for every waking moment. As Peter Drucker said, whenever you find something getting done, you find a monomaniac with a mission. The more you think about your major definite purpose and how to achieve it, the more you activate the law of attraction in your life. You begin to attract to you people, opportunities, ideas, and resources that help you to move more rapidly toward your goal and move your goal more rapidly toward you. By the law of correspondence, your outer world of experience will correspond and harmonize with your inner world of goals. When you have a major definite purpose that you think about, talk about, and work on all the time, your outer world will reflect this like a mirror image. A major definite purpose also activates your subconscious mind on your behalf. Any thought, plan, or goal that you can clearly define in your conscious mind will immediately start to be brought into reality by your subconscious mind and your superconscious mind, as we will discuss later. Each person has within his or her brain a special organ called a reticular cortex. This small finger-like part of the brain functions in a way similar to a telephone switchboard in a large office building. Just as all phone calls are received by the central switchboard and then rerouted to the appropriate recipient, all incoming information to your senses is routed through your reticular cortex to the relevant part of your brain or to your awareness. Your reticular cortex contains your reticular activating system. When you send a goal message to your reticular cortex, it starts to make you intensely aware of and alert to people, information, and opportunities in your environment that will help you achieve your goal. For example, imagine that you decided that you wanted a red sports car. You write this down as a goal. You begin to think about and visualize a red sports car. This process sends the message to your reticular cortex that a red sports car is now important to you. This picture immediately goes up onto your mental radar screen. From that moment onward, you will start to notice red sports cars wherever you go. You will even see them driving and turning corners several blocks away. You will see them parked in driveways and in showrooms. Everywhere you go, your world will seem to be full of red sports cars. If you decided to buy a motorcycle, you would start to see motorcycles everywhere. If you decided to take a trip to Hawaii, you would begin to notice posters, advertisements, brochures, and television specials with information on Hawaiian vacations. Whatever goal message you send to your reticular cortex activates your reticular activating system to make you alert to all possibilities to make that goal a reality. For example, if you decide to become financially independent, you'll suddenly begin to notice all kinds of opportunities and possibilities around you that have to do with achieving your financial goals. You will see stories in newspapers and recognize books on the subject wherever you go. You will receive information and solicitations in the mail. You'll find yourself in conversations about earning and investing money. It will seem as though you are surrounded by ideas and information that can be helpful to you in achieving your financial goals. On the other hand, if you do not give clear instructions to your reticular cortex and your subconscious mind, you will go through life as though you were driving in a fog. You will be largely unaware of all these opportunities and possibilities around you. You will seldom see them or notice them. It's been said that attention is the key to life. Wherever your attention goes, your life goes as well. When you decide upon a major, definite purpose, you increase your level of attentiveness and become increasingly sensitive to anything in your environment that can help you to achieve that goal faster. Your major definite purpose can be defined as the one goal that is the most important to you at the moment. It is usually the one goal that will help you to achieve more of your other goals than anything else you can accomplish. It must have the following characteristics. First, your major definite purpose must be something that you personally really want. Your desire for this goal must be so intense that the very idea of achieving your major definite purpose excites you and makes you happy. Second, your major definite purpose must be clear and specific. You must be able to define it in words. You must be able to write it down with such clarity that a child could read it and know exactly what it is you want and be able to determine whether or not you've achieved it. Third, your major definite purpose must be measurable and quantifiable. Rather than make a lot of money, it must be more like, I earn $100,000 per year by a specific date. Fourth, your major definite purpose must be both believable and achievable. Your major definite purpose cannot be so big or so ridiculous that it's completely unattainable at the moment. A woman approached me at one of my seminars and told me that she had decided upon her major definite purpose. I asked her what it was. She said, I'm going to be a millionaire in 1 year. Curiously, I asked her approximately how much she was worth today. Well, it turned out that she was broke and in debt. I asked her what kind of work she did. It turned out that she had just been fired from her job because of incompetence. I then asked her why she would set a goal to acquire $1 million in 1 year under these circumstances. Well, she informed me that I had said that you could set any major goal you wanted as long as you were clear, and she was therefore convinced that was all she needed to be successful. I had to explain to her that her goal was so unrealistic and unattainable in her current circumstances that it would only discourage her when she found herself so far away from it. Such a goal would actually end up demotivating her rather than motivating her to do the things she would need to be financially successful in the years ahead. A man at one of my seminars told me that his major definite purpose was world peace. I explained to him that unless he was the head of a major superpower, there was very little influence he could have on world peace. Such a goal would only keep him from setting a personal goal that was actually attainable, something that he could work on every day. He was visibly irritated and walked away unhappy with my reluctance to encourage him in his fantasy. In both of these cases, they were using goal setting against themselves. They were setting themselves up for failure by creating goals that were so unachievable that they would soon become discouraged and quit making any efforts at all. This is a real danger when you begin setting big goals for yourself, and you must be careful to avoid it. It can be a blind alley that leads you into discouragement and demotivation rather than to enthusiasm and excitement. I made this mistake once myself when I was younger. When I first started setting goals, I set an income goal that was 10 times what I had ever earned in my life. After many months and no progress at all, I realized that my goal was not helping me. Because it was so far beyond anything I had ever achieved, it had no motivating power. In my heart of hearts, although I wanted it, I really did not believe it was possible. And since I didn't believe it was possible, my subconscious mind rejected it, and my reticular cortex simply failed to function. Don't let this happen to you. Fifth, your major definite purpose should have a reasonable probability of success, perhaps 50-50 when you begin. If you've never achieved a major goal before, set a goal that has an 80% or even 90% probability of success. Make it easy on yourself, at least at the beginning. Later on, you can set huge goals with very small probabilities of success, and you will still be motivated to take the steps necessary to achieve them. But in the beginning, set goals that are believable, achievable, and which have a high probability of success so that you can be assured of winning right from the start. Sixth, your major definite purpose must be in harmony with your other goals. You cannot want to be financially successful in your career on the one hand and play golf most of the time on the other. Your major goals must be in harmony with your minor goals and congruent with your values. Here is the key question for determining your major definite purpose. What one great thing would you dare to dream if you knew you could not fail? If you could be absolutely guaranteed of successfully achieving any goal, large or small, short-term or long-term, what one goal would it be? Whatever your answer to this question, if you can write it down, you can probably achieve it. From then on, the only question you ask is, how? The only real limit is how badly you want it and how long you are willing to work toward it. One of my seminar participants, a professor of chemistry at a leading university, had won a Nobel Prize in chemistry 2 years before in partnership with 2 other scientists. He told me that when he started his university career in his 20s, he decided that he wanted to make a major contribution in the field of chemistry. That was his major definite purpose. He focused on it for more than 25 years, and eventually he was successful. He told me, "I was clear from the very beginning. I never doubted that I would eventually make such a significant contribution to chemistry that I would win the Nobel Prize. I was happy when it happened, but it was not a surprise." Everyone wants to be a millionaire or a multimillionaire. The only question is whether or not you are willing to do all the things necessary and invest all the years required to achieve that financial goal. If you are, there is virtually nothing that can stop you. Here is an exercise for you. Take out a sheet of paper and write down a list of 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the foreseeable future. Write them down in the present tense, as though you had already achieved these goals. For example, you would write, "I weigh X number of pounds," or "I earn X number of dollars per year." After you've completed your list of 10 goals, go back over the list and ask yourself this question. What one goal on this list, if I were to accomplish it immediately, would have the greatest positive impact on my life? In almost every case, this one goal is your major definite purpose. It is the one goal that can have the greatest impact on your life and on the achieving of most of your other goals at the same time. Whatever goal you choose, write it on a separate sheet of paper. Write down everything you can think of that you can do to achieve this goal, and then take action on at least one item on your list. Write this goal on a 3x5 index card that you carry around with you and review it regularly. Think about this goal morning, noon, and night. Continually look for ways to achieve it. And the only question you ask is how. Your selection of a major definite purpose and your decision to concentrate single-mindedly on that purpose, overcoming all obstacles and difficulties until it is achieved, will do more to change your life for the better than any other decision you ever make. Whatever your major definite purpose, write it down and begin working on it today. Now, here are 3 things you can do immediately to put these ideas into action. First, answer the question, what one great thing would you dare to dream if you knew you could not fail? Second, make a list of 10 goals you would like to achieve in the months and years ahead in the present tense. Select the one goal from that list that would have the greatest positive impact on your life. And third, make a list of everything that you can think of to do that will move you toward your goal. Take action on at least one thing immediately. Sometimes I ask my audiences, how many people here would like to double their incomes? Not surprisingly, everyone raises his or her hand. I then go on to say, well, I have good news for you. Everybody here is going to double their income, guaranteed, if you live long enough. If your income increases at the rate of 3 to 4% per year, the average annual cost of living increase, you will double your income in about 20 years. But that is a long time to wait. So the real question is not about doubling your income. The real question is, how fast can you do it? There are many techniques that can help you to achieve your personal and financial goals faster. In this session, I want to share with you a special method that has taken more people from rags to riches than any other single method ever discovered. It is simple, fast, effective, and guaranteed to work if you will practice it. Earlier I said, you become what you think about most of the time. This is the great truth that underlies all religion, all philosophy, all psychology, and all of success. As a teacher of mine, John Boyle, once said, whatever you can hold in your mind on a continuing basis, you can have. This is the key. Many people today talk about the importance of positive thinking. Positive thinking is important, but it is not enough. Left undirected and uncontrolled, positive thinking can quickly degenerate into positive wishing and positive hoping. Instead of serving as an energy force for inspiration and higher achievement, positive thinking can become little more than a generally cheerful attitude toward life and toward whatever happens to you, positive or negative. To be focused and effective in goal attainment, positive thinking must translate into positive knowing. You must absolutely know and believe in the depths of your being that you are going to be successful at achieving a particular goal. You must proceed completely without doubt. You must be so resolute and determined, so convinced of your ultimate success that nothing can stop you. This is positive knowing. Everything that you do to program your subconscious mind with this unshakable conviction of success will help you to achieve your goals faster. This method that I'm going to share with you can actually multiply your talents and abilities and greatly increase the speed at which you move from wherever you are to wherever you want to go. One of the important mental laws is, whatever is impressed is expressed. Whatever you impress deeply into your subconscious mind will eventually be expressed in your external world. Your aim in mental programming is to impress your goals deeply into your subconscious mind so that they lock in and take on a power of their own. This method helps you to do that. For many years, I worked away at my goals, writing them down once or twice a year and then reviewing them whenever I got a chance. Even this was enough to make an incredible difference in my life. Often, I would write down a list of goals for myself in January for the coming year. In December of that year, I would review my list and find that most of the goals had been accomplished, including some of the biggest and most unbelievable goals on the list. I then learned the technique that changed my life. I discovered that if it is powerful for you to write down your goals once a year, it is even more powerful for you to write down your goals more often. Some authors suggest that you write down and review your goals once a month, others once a week. What I learned was the power of writing and rewriting your goals every single day. Here's the technique. Get a spiral notebook that you keep with you at all times. Each day, open up your notebook and write down a list of your 10 to 15 most important goals without referring to your previous list. Do this every day, day after day, and as you do this, several remarkable things will happen. The first day you write down your list of goals, you will have to give it some thought and reflection. Most people have never made a list of their 10 top goals in their entire lives. The second day you write out your list without reference to your previous list, it will be a bit easier. However, your 10 to 15 goals will change, both in description and order of priority. Sometimes a goal that you wrote one day will not appear the next day. It may even be forgotten and never reappear again, or it may reappear later at a more appropriate time. Each day that you write down your 10 to 15 goals, your definitions will become clearer and sharper. You will eventually find yourself writing down the same words every day. Your order of priority will also change as your life changes around you, but over time, after about 30 days, you will find yourself writing and rewriting the same goals every day. At about this time, something remarkable will happen in your life. It will take off. You will feel like a passenger in a jet hurtling down the runway. Your work and personal life will begin to improve dramatically. Your mind will sparkle with ideas and insights. You will start to attract people and resources into your life to help you to achieve your goals. You will start to make progress at a rapid rate, sometimes so fast that it will be a little scary. Everything will begin to change in a very positive way. Over the years, I've spoken in 23 countries and addressed more than 2 million people. I've shared this 10-goal exercise with hundreds of thousands of seminar participants. The exercise that I give them is a little simpler than the exercise I am giving you here. Here it is. As I said earlier, I ask my audience members to make a list of 10 goals that they want to accomplish in the coming year. I tell them to put the list away for 12 months and then open it up. When they open up the list after a year, it will be as though a magic trick has been performed. In almost every case, 8 of their 10 goals will have been accomplished, sometimes in the most remarkable ways. I've given this exercise all over the world to people in every language and culture. In virtually every case, when I return to their cities and countries, people line up to talk to me, like in a wedding receiving line, and tell me story after story about how their lives have changed after writing down their 10 goals a year or more ago. In the exercise we are discussing in this session, you will learn to get results that are far greater and far faster than those enjoyed by people who write down their goals only one time. Your results will double and triple and increase 5 and 10 times as you use the same power of goal setting we have discussed earlier, but you will now be writing your goals down every day. Here are some special rules that you must follow to get the most out of this exercise. First, you must use the 3P formula. Your goals must be written and described in the positive, present, and personal tenses. Your subconscious mind is only activated by affirmative statements phrased in the present tense. You therefore write down your goals as though you have already accomplished them. Instead of saying, I will earn $50,000 in the next 12 months, you would say, I earn $50,000 per year. Your goals must be stated positively as well. Instead of saying, I will quit smoking or I will lose a certain number of pounds of weight, you would instead say, I am a non-smoker, or I weigh X number of pounds. Your command must be positive because your subconscious mind cannot process a negative command. It is only receptive to a positive, present tense statement. The third P stands for personal. From now on and for the rest of your life, you write out every goal beginning with the word I, followed by a verb of some kind. You are the only person in the universe who can use the word I in relation to yourself. When your subconscious mind receives a command that begins with the word I, it is as though the factory floor receives a production order from the head office. It goes to work immediately to bring that goal into your reality. For example, you would not say, my goal is to earn $50,000 per year. You would instead say, I earn $50,000 per year. Begin each of your goals with phrases such as, I earn, I weigh, I achieve, I win, I drive such and such a car, I live in such and such a home, I climb such and such a mountain, and so on. To add power to your daily written goals, put a deadline at the end of each goal. For example, you might write, I earn an average of $5,000 per month by December 31st, followed by a particular year. As we discussed in an earlier chapter, your mind loves deadlines and thrives on a forcing system. Even if you do not know how the goal is going to be achieved, always give yourself a firm deadline. Remember, you can always change the deadline with new information. But be sure that you have a deadline, like an exclamation point, after every goal. This exercise of writing out your 10 goals every single day is a test. The test is to determine how badly you really want to achieve these goals. Often, you will write out a goal and then forget to write it down again. This simply means that you either don't really want to achieve that goal as much as something else, or you don't really believe that that goal is achievable for you. However, the more you can discipline yourself to write and rewrite your goals each day, the clearer you will become about what you really want, and the more convinced you will become that it is possible for you. When you begin writing your goals, you may have no idea how they will be accomplished. But this is not important. All that matters is that you write and rewrite them every day in complete faith, knowing that every single time you write them down, you are impressing them deeper and deeper into your subconscious mind. At a certain point, you will begin to believe with absolute conviction that your goal is achievable. Once your subconscious mind accepts your goals as commands from your conscious mind, it will start to make all your words and actions fit a pattern consistent with those goals. Your subconscious mind will start attracting into your life people and circumstances that can help you to achieve your goal. Your subconscious mind works 24 hours a day like a massive computer that is never turned off to help bring your goals into reality. Almost without your doing anything, your goals will begin to materialize in your life, sometimes in the most remarkable and unexpected ways. Whenever you write down a new goal of any kind, you may be skeptical and doubtful about the likelihood of accomplishing it. You may have the idea in your conscious mind, but you will not have yet developed the total belief and conviction that it is possible for you. This is normal and natural. Don't let it stop you from using this method every day. All that is required to make this method work, as I said, is for you to get a spiral notebook and then to discipline yourself each day to write down your 10 goals, more or less, in the present, positive, personal tense. That's all you need. In a week, a month, or a year, you will look around you and see that your whole life will have transformed in the most remarkable ways. Even if you're skeptical about this method, it only requires about 5 minutes per day to try it out for yourself. The good news is that I have never met a person in more than 20 years who has ever told me that this method doesn't work. It's quite the opposite, in fact. I get letters, phone calls, emails, and personal testimonials almost every day from people all over the country and all over the world whose lives have been transformed so dramatically with this method as to be beyond belief. You can multiply the effectiveness of this method with a couple of additional techniques. First, after you have written down your goal in the positive personal present tense, write down at least 3 actions that you could take immediately to achieve that goal, also in the present positive personal tense. For example, your goal could be to earn a certain amount of money. You could write, I earn $50,000 over the next 12 months. You could then write immediately underneath, 1. I plan every day in advance. 2. I start in immediately on my most important tasks. 3. I concentrate single-mindedly on my most important task until it is complete. Whatever your goal, you can easily think of 3 action steps that you can take immediately to achieve that goal. When you write down the action steps, you program them into your subconscious mind along with the goal. At a certain point, you will find yourself actually taking the steps that you wrote down, sometimes without even thinking about it. And each step you take will move you more rapidly towards your ultimate objective. Another way that you can increase the effectiveness of daily goal setting is by transferring your goals to 3x5 index cards. Write 1 goal on each card in large letters. Carry these cards with you at all times. Whenever you have a few moments, take out your index cards and review your goals one by one. Each of these goals should be written as a personal, positive, present tense affirmation. Someone once said, I would rather a morning without breakfast than a morning without affirmations. Each time you use these cards, take a few moments, breathe deeply, and relax, and then review each of your goals one at a time. As you read the goal to yourself, imagine the goal as though it were already a reality. Actually see yourself at the goal, enjoying the goal, feeling the pleasure of having achieved the goal. Alternately, as you read your index cards, you can imagine specific steps that you can take immediately to achieve that goal. You should actually imagine yourself taking those steps, then relax and go on to the next goal. Ideally, you should review your goals on index cards twice per day. Read them once in the morning before you start off and once in the evening before you go to bed. You can also carry them around with you and review them during the day, whenever you have a few spare moments. There are 2 times of the day that are ideal for writing and rewriting your goals, and for reading and reviewing your index cards. These are the last thing in the evening before you go to bed, and the first thing in the morning before you start off. When you rewrite and review your goals in the evening, you program them into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind then has an opportunity to work on your goals all night long while you're sleeping. You will often arise with wonderful ideas for things to do or people to call to help you achieve your goals. When you rewrite and review your goals in the morning before you start off, you set yourself up for positive thinking and positive acting all day long. Just as physical exercise in the morning warms up your physical body and muscles, reviewing your goals in the morning warms up your mind and prepares you to be at your very best throughout the day. The sum total result of rewriting and reviewing your goals each day, morning and evening, is that you will impress them ever more deeply into your subconscious mind. You will gradually move from positive thinking to positive knowing. You will develop a deep down, unshakable conviction that your goals are attainable and that it is only a matter of time before you achieve them. And you will be right. Now, here are 3 things you can do immediately to put these ideas into action. First, get yourself a spiral notebook this very day and write down 10 to 15 goals that you would like to achieve in the foreseeable future. Second, create a set of 3x5 index cards with your goals written out in the positive, personal, present tense to carry with you wherever you go. And third, think of 3 things you could do to achieve each of your goals. Always think in terms of specific actions you can take. You possess and have available to you virtually unlimited mental powers. The average person is unaware of these powers and fails to use them for goal attainment. That is why his or her results are only average. When you begin to tap into and unleash the power of your subconscious and superconscious minds, you will often achieve more in a year or 2 than the average person achieves in a lifetime. You will start moving more rapidly toward your goals than you can currently imagine. Your ability to visualize is perhaps the most powerful faculty that you possess. All improvement in your life begins with an improvement in your mental pictures. You are where you are and what you are today largely because of the mental pictures that you hold in your conscious mind at the present time. As you change your mental pictures on the inside, your world on the outside will begin to change to correspond to those pictures. Visualization activates the law of attraction, which draws into your life the people, circumstances, and resources that you need to achieve your goal. Visualization activates the law of correspondence, which says, as within, so without. As you change your mental pictures on the inside, your world on the outside, like a mirror, begins to change. Just as you become what you think about most of the time, you become what you visualize most of the time as well. Wayne Dyer says, you will see it when you believe it. Jim Cathcart says, the person you see is the person you will be. Dennis Waitley says that your mental images are your previews of your life's coming attractions. Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than facts. Napoleon Bonaparte said, "Imagination rules the world." And of course, Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." The most common characteristic of leaders at all levels throughout the ages is that leaders have vision. This means that they can visualize and imagine an ideal future well in advance of it becoming a reality. Just as Walt Disney clearly saw a happy, clean, family-oriented amusement park many years before Disneyland was built, everything worthwhile in your life begins with a mental picture of some kind as well. As it happens, you are always visualizing something one way or another. Every time you think of something or someone, remember a past event, imagine an upcoming event, or even daydream while you're sitting or driving along, you are visualizing. It's essential that you learn to manage and control this visualizing capability of your mind and focus it like a laser beam in the direction of achieving the goals that are most important to you. Successful people are those who visualize the kind of success they want to enjoy in advance. Prior to every new experience, the successful person visualizes previous success experiences that are similar to the upcoming event. A successful salesperson will visualize and remember previous successful sales presentations. A successful trial lawyer will visualize and remember his performance in court during a previous successful trial. A successful doctor or surgeon will visualize and remember his or her successful treatment of a patient in the past. Unsuccessful people, on the other hand, also use visualization, but to their detriment. Unsuccessful people prior to a new event recall, reflect upon, and visualize their previous failure experiences. They think about the last time they failed or did poorly in this area, and they imagine failing again. As a result, when they go into the new experience, their subconscious minds have been pre-programmed for failure rather than for success. You always perform on the outside consistent with your self-image on the inside. Your self-image is made up of the mental pictures that you feed into your mind prior to any event. And the good news is that you have complete control over your mental pictures, for good or for ill. You can choose to feed your mind with positive, exciting success images, or you can, by default, end up allowing yourself to be preoccupied by failure images. The choice is up to you. Almost everything that you have achieved in life or failed to achieve is the result of the use or misuse of visualization. If you look back, you will find that almost everything you visualized positively eventually came true for you. You visualized completing school, and you did it. You visualized getting your first car, and you got it. You visualized your first romance or relationship, and you met the right person. You visualized taking a trip, getting a job, finding an apartment, or purchasing certain clothes, and they all came true for you. You have been using the power of visualization continuously throughout your life. But the problem is that most people use visualization in a random and haphazard way, sometimes to help themselves and sometimes to hurt themselves. Your goal should be to take complete control of the visualization process and be sure that your mind and mental images are focused continually on the things that you want to have and the person that you want to be. George Washington, the first President of the United States, and considered by most historians to be the indispensable man at the founding of the American Republic, started his life in humble circumstances. He was born in a small house and raised with few advantages. But he was ambitious, and at an early age he decided that he had to mold and shape his character and personality so that he could become the kind of person who would be accepted and successful in society. The guiding influence of his young life became a book with 130 rules for manners and deportment. He read this book over and over again and eventually committed it to memory. Thereafter, he practiced the very best behaviors of courtesy and manners in his every interaction with other people. By the time he became a powerful figure in the American Revolution, he was described as one of the most courtly and gentlemanly men in the American colonies. Benjamin Franklin, America's first millionaire, a founding father and a remarkable statesman, diplomat, and inventor, started as a penniless boy in Philadelphia, apprenticed to a small printing company. He was outspoken and argumentative, and often made enemies who then contrived to hurt his chances and hold him back. At a certain point in his life, as Benjamin Franklin reveals in his autobiography, he realized that his personality was in great danger of hurting his chances for long-term success in early American society. He therefore decided to develop within himself a series of key virtues, such as sincerity, humility, temperance, discipline, and honesty, that he felt he would have to possess if he wanted to achieve his full potential. For many years, week after week, both Washington and Franklin practiced visualization on themselves. They thought of a characteristic or quality that they wanted to embody. They visualized and imagined themselves as possessing that quality. In every interaction with other people, they referred to this inner mirror to see how they should behave, and then carried themselves in a manner consistent with that ideal inner picture. Over time, these mental images became so deeply impressed on their subconscious minds that the mannerisms and the person became one. Piero Ferrucci, in his book The Power to Be, explains how you can develop any quality you desire by dwelling upon that quality continually and imagining that you have it already. Read about the quality, learn about the quality, and especially imagine yourself practicing that quality whenever it is needed. Aristotle wrote that the very best way to develop a virtue, if you currently lack that virtue, is to imagine and to behave in every respect as though you already had the virtue, whenever that virtue is called for. See and think about yourself as you can be, not just as you might be today. Gradually, you become that new person. In essence, you control the molding and shaping of your own personality and character by the mental images that you dwell upon hour by hour and minute by minute. By changing your mental images, you change the way you think, feel, and act. You change the way that you treat other people and the way they respond to you. You change your performance and your results. You can actually remake yourself in the image of the very best person that you can imagine yourself becoming. This is all part of the constructive use of visualization. In professional athletics, there is a training method called mental rehearsal. Top athletes in every field mentally rehearse their events before they go into active competition. They see themselves performing at their best prior to every event. For many days and hours prior to a major competition, they practice visualizing themselves performing successfully over and over again. They will continuously recall their personal bests in previous competition and replay this personal best like a movie of the mind in their own mental screening room. They will see themselves doing well over and over. They will create and enjoy the emotions of joy and satisfaction that accompany peak performance. They will become excited and happy about doing so well in the upcoming competition. And when the competition begins, as far as they are concerned, they've already won. There are 4 parts of visualization that you can learn and practice to assure that you use this incredible power to its best advantage all the days of your life. The first aspect of visualization is frequency. Frequency refers to the number of times that you visualize a particular goal as achieved, or yourself performing in an excellent way in a particular event or circumstance. The more frequently you repeat a clear mental picture of your very best performance or result, the more rapidly it will be accepted by your subconscious mind, and the more rapidly it will appear as part of your reality. The second element of visualization is the duration of the mental image. Duration refers to the length of time that you can hold the picture in your mind each time you replay it. When you deeply relax, you can often hold a mental picture of yourself performing at your best for several seconds, and even several minutes. The longer you can hold your mental picture, the more deeply it will be impressed into your subconscious mind, and the more rapidly it will express itself in your subsequent performance or behavior. The third element of visualization is vividness. There is a direct relationship between how clearly you can see your desired goal or result in your mind and how quickly it comes into your reality. This element of visualization is what explains the powers of the law of attraction and the law of correspondence. The vividness of your desire directly determines how quickly it materializes in the world around you. Here's an interesting point. When you set a new goal for yourself, your image or picture of this goal will usually be vague and fuzzy. You may have no idea at all what the successful goal will look like. But the more often you write it, review it, and repeat it mentally, the clearer it becomes for you. At a certain point, it will become crystal clear. At that point, the goal will suddenly appear in your world exactly as you imagined it. The fourth element of visualization is intensity. The intensity of a visualization refers to the amount of emotion that you attach to your visual image. In reality, this is the most important and powerful part of the visualization process. Sometimes, if your emotion is intense enough and your visual image is clear enough, your goal will immediately come true. Of course, the elements of frequency, duration, vividness, and intensity can help you or hurt you. Nature is neutral. The power of visualization is neutral as well. It's like a two-edged sword. It can cut in either direction. It can either make you a success or make you a failure. Visualization brings you whatever you vividly and intensively imagine, whether good or bad. For example, worry is a form of negative goal setting. It is the process of thinking about, imagining, and visualizing, combined with feelings of fear and anxiety, exactly those things that you don't want to happen. But because visualization is neutral, when you worry, you are using this power in a negative way. Exactly those things that you don't want will be attracted into your life. In the book of Job, he says, "That which I greatly feared has come upon me." This refers to the unhappy consequences of negative visualization. You must be very careful how you use this visualizing power in your life. Most people want to be physically fit and trim. Psychologists will tell you that this is only possible when you think thin. One way you can create this mental image of thinness is to take the picture of a person who has the kind of body you would like to have, cut off the head, and put your own photo there instead. Put this picture on your refrigerator. Make multiple copies of this picture if you can, and put them all over your house. Every time you look at a picture of yourself with a beautiful body, your subconscious mind will register it once again. Eventually, you will find yourself eating less and exercising more. Your outer reality will soon correspond to your inner picture. Often, single people ask me how they can find their soulmate. I ask them if they have made up a list and created a picture of what their soulmate will look like. They're always surprised and sometimes insulted. They say, "Well, I'll know the person when I meet them." But that's not the way it works. Casualness brings casualties. If you don't have a clear idea of what you want, you end up getting something else. I advise them to sit down and write out a complete description of the ideal person that they would like to meet. Write down every single quality and characteristic that they would like their soulmate to have. Be clear about age, temperament, personality, interest, values, background, sense of humor, level of ambition, and so on. It is absolutely amazing what happens. A good friend of mine, a graduate of one of my 3-day seminars, did this immediately after the program. 10 months later, he met the ideal person who fit his written description perfectly. They got married shortly thereafter, had 2 beautiful children, and have been happy from the first moment they met. If you're single, you should give this technique a try. You might be happily surprised at what happens. In every area of your life, you can use visualization to make it better. Earlier in this book, I talked about the use of idealization. This process involves creating an ideal picture of what you would like your life to look like sometime in the future. Idealizing is just another version of visualizing. Remember, you can't hit a target that you can't see. But if you are absolutely clear about what you want, you will eventually achieve it sooner or later. As with goal setting, the two best times to visualize are late in the evening and early in the morning. When you visualize your goals as if they already existed before you go to sleep, your subconscious mind accepts them at a deeper and deeper level. It then adjusts your words and actions during the day so that you do and say more and more of those things that will make your goals into realities. Another time to visualize is first thing in the morning before you start out. Clear mental images of what you want to accomplish during the day will make it far more likely that you achieve those results exactly as you imagined and on schedule. To repeat, all improvement in your life starts with an improvement in your mental pictures. Start today to flood your mind with pictures of the person you want to be, the life you want to live, and the goals you want to achieve. Cut out pictures from magazines and newspapers that are consistent with your goals and desires. Post them everywhere. Review them regularly. Discuss them often. Imagine them continually. Make your life an ongoing process of positive visualization, continually imagining and visioneering your ideal goals and your perfect future. This can do more to help you to step on the accelerator of your own potential than any other exercise you engage in. Now, here are 3 things you can do immediately to put these ideas into action. First, project forward and imagine that your life was perfect in every respect. What would it look like? Whatever your answer, imagine this picture regularly. Second, cut out pictures of the things you would like to have and the person you would like to be in the future. Look at these pictures and think about what you could do to make them into realities. Third, practice mental rehearsal before every event of importance. See yourself in your mind's eye as performing at your very best in everything you do or attempt. Every great success in your life will represent a triumph of persistence. Your ability to decide what you want, to begin, and then to persist through all obstacles and difficulties until you achieve your goals is the critical determinant of your success in life. And the flip side of persistence is courage. Perhaps the greatest challenge that you'll ever face in life is the conquest of fear and the development of the habit of courage. Winston Churchill once wrote, "Courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend." Fear is and always has been the greatest enemy of mankind. When Franklin D. Roosevelt said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself," he was saying that the emotion of fear, rather than the reality of what we fear, is what causes us anxiety, stress, and unhappiness. When you develop the habit of courage and unshakable self-confidence, a whole new world of possibilities opens up for you. Just think, what would you dare to dream or be or do if you weren't afraid of anything in the whole world? The starting point in overcoming fear and developing courage is first of all to look at the factors that predispose us toward being afraid. As we know, the root source of fear is childhood conditioning, usually destructive criticism from one or both parents, that causes us to experience 2 types of fear. These are, first of all, the fear of failure, which causes us to think, I can't. And second, the fear of rejection, which causes us to think, I have to. Because of these fears, we become preoccupied with the fears of losing our money, or our time, or our emotional investment in a relationship. We become hypersensitive to the opinions and possible criticisms of others, sometimes to the point where we're afraid to do anything that anyone else might disapprove of. Our fears tend to paralyze us, holding us back from taking constructive action in the direction of our dreams and goals. We hesitate. We become indecisive. We procrastinate. We make excuses and find reasons to delay. And finally, we feel frustrated, caught in the double bind of, I have to, but I can't, or I can't, but I have to. Fear can be caused by ignorance. When we have limited information, we may be tense and insecure about the outcome of our actions. Ignorance causes us to fear change, to fear the unknown, and to avoid trying something new or different. But the reverse is also true. The very act of gathering more information and experience in a particular area gives us more courage and confidence in that area. There are parts of your life where you have no fears at all because you have mastered that area, like driving a car, or skiing, or selling, or managing. Because of your knowledge and experience, you feel completely capable of handling whatever happens. You have no fears. Here's an important point. All intelligent people are afraid of something. It is normal and natural to be concerned about your physical, emotional, and financial survival. The courageous person is not a person who is unafraid. As Mark Twain said, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. It is not whether or not you are afraid. We are all afraid. The question is, how do you deal with the fear? The courageous person is simply one who goes forward in spite of the fear. And here is something else that I have learned. When you confront your fears and move toward what you're afraid of, your fears diminish, while at the same time, your self-esteem and self-confidence increases. However, when you avoid the thing you fear, your fears grow until they begin to control every aspect of your life. And as your fears increase, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, and your self-respect diminish accordingly. As the actor Glenn Ford once said, if you do not do the thing you fear, the fear controls your life. Once we've recognized the factors that can cause fear, the next step in overcoming fear is to sit down and take the time to objectively identify, define, and analyze your own personal fears. At the top of a clean sheet of paper, write the question, what am I afraid of? Begin filling out your list of fears by writing down everything, major and minor, over which you experience any anxiety. Start with the most common fears, the fears of failure or loss, and the fears of rejection or criticism. Some people, dominated by the fear of failure, invest an enormous amount of energy justifying or covering up their mistakes. They cannot deal with the idea of making a mistake. Others, preoccupied by the fear of rejection, are so sensitive to how they appear to others that they seem to have no ability to take independent action at all. Until they are absolutely certain that someone else will approve, they refrain from doing anything. Once you've made a list of every fear that you think may be affecting your thinking and your behavior, organize the items in order of importance. Which fear do you feel has the greatest impact on your thinking or holds you back more than any other fear? Which fear would be number 2? What would be your third major fear, and so on? With regard to your predominant fear, write the answers to these 3 questions. Number 1, how does this fear hold me back in life? Number 2, how does this fear help me, or how has it helped me in the past? And number 3, what would be my payoff for eliminating this fear? Some years ago, I went through this exercise, and I concluded that my biggest fear was the fear of poverty. I was afraid of not having enough money, of being broke, perhaps even being destitute. I knew that this fear had originated during my childhood because my parents, who grew up during the Depression, had continually worried about money. My fear was reinforced when I was broke at various times during my 20s. I could objectively assess the origins of this fear, but it still had a strong hold on me. Even when I had sufficient money for all my needs, this fear was always there. My answer to the first question, how does this fear hold me back, was that it caused me to be anxious about taking risks with money. It caused me to play it safe with regard to employment. and it caused me to choose security over opportunity. My answer to the second question, how does this fear help me, was that in order to escape the fear of poverty, I had developed the habit of working much longer and harder than the average person. I was more ambitious and determined. I took more time to study and learn about the various ways that money could be made and invested. The fear of poverty was, in effect, driving me toward financial independence. When I answered the third question, what would be my payoff for overcoming this fear, I immediately saw that I would be willing to take more risks. I would be more aggressive in pursuing my financial goals. I could and would start my own business, and I would not be so tense and concerned about spending too much or having too little. Especially, I would no longer be so concerned about the price of everything. By objectively analyzing my biggest fear in this way, I was able to begin the process of eliminating it, and so can you. You can begin the process of developing courage and eliminating fear by engaging in actions consistent with the behaviors of courage and self-confidence. Anything that you practice over and over eventually becomes a new habit. You develop courage by behaving courageously whenever courage is called for. Here are some of the activities you can practice to develop the habit of courage. The first and perhaps most important kind of courage is the courage to begin, to launch, to step out in faith. This is the courage to try something new or different, to move out of your comfort zone with no guarantee of success. Earlier, I mentioned Professor Robert Ronstadt of Babson College, who taught entrepreneurship for many years. He conducted a study of those who took his class and found that only 10% actually started their own businesses and became successful later in life. He could only find one quality that the successful graduates had in common. It was their willingness to actually start their own businesses, as opposed to continually talking about it. He discovered the corridor principle that we spoke about earlier. As these individuals moved forward toward their goals, as though proceeding down a corridor, doors opened to them that they would not have seen if they had not been in forward motion. It turned out that the graduates of his entrepreneurship course who had done nothing with what they had learned were still waiting for things to be just right before they began. They were unwilling to launch themselves down the corridor of uncertainty until they could somehow be reassured that they would be successful, something which never happened. The future belongs to the risk-takers, not the security seekers. Life is perverse in the sense that the more you seek security, the less of it you have. But the more you seek opportunity, the more likely it is that you will achieve the security that you desire. Whenever you feel fear or anxiety, and you need to bolster your courage to persist in the face of obstacles and setbacks, switch your attention to your goals. Create a clear mental picture of the person that you would like to be, performing the way you would like to perform. There's nothing wrong with thoughts of fear as long as you temper them with thoughts of courage and self-reliance. Whatever you dwell upon grows, so be careful. The mastery of fear and the development of courage are essential prerequisites for a happy, successful life. With a commitment to acquiring the habit of courage, you will eventually reach the point where your fears no longer play a major role in your decision-making. You will set big, challenging, exciting goals, and you will have the confidence of knowing that you can attain them. You will be able to face every situation with calmness and self-assurance. And the key is courage. Now, here's a question. What if you could sit down with one of the most successful men or women in our society and learn from him or her all the lessons of success that he or she had taken a lifetime to gather? Do you think that would help you to be more successful? Well, what if you could sit down with 100 of the most successful men and women who ever lived and learn from their rules, their lessons, and their secrets of success? Would that help you to be more successful in your own life? What if you could sit down over time with more than 1,000 highly successful men and women? How about 2,000 or 3,000? Your answer is probably that spending time with these extremely successful men and women, learning what they learned in order to achieve their goals, would be of great help to you. The truth is, however, that all of this advice and input would do you no good at all unless you took some specific action on what you had learned. If learning about success was all that it took to do great things with your life, then your success would be guaranteed. The bookstores are full of self-help books, each one of them loaded with ideas that you can use to be more successful. The fact is, however, that all of the best advice in the world will only help you if you can motivate yourself to take persistent, continuous action in the direction of your goals until you succeed. The probable result of your listening to the ideas in this program has been that you have made some specific decisions about things that you're going to do more of and things that you're going to do less of. You have set certain goals for yourself in different areas of your life, and you've made resolutions that you are determined to follow through on. The most important question for your future now is simply, will you do what you have resolved to do? The most important single quality for success is self-discipline. Self-discipline means that you have the ability within yourself, based on your strength of character and willpower, to do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. Character is the ability to follow through on a resolution after the enthusiasm with which the resolution was made has passed. It is not what you learn that is decisive for your future. It is whether or not you can put your head down and discipline yourself to pay the price over and over until you finally obtain your objective. You need self-discipline in order to set your goals and to make plans for their accomplishment. You need self-discipline to continually revise and upgrade your plans with new information. You need self-discipline to use your time well and to always concentrate on the one thing, the most important thing that you need to do at the moment. You need self-discipline to invest in yourself every day, to build yourself up personally and professionally, to learn what you need to learn in order to enjoy the success of which you are capable. You need self-discipline to delay gratification, to save your money, and to organize your finances so that you can achieve financial independence in the course of your working lifetime. You need self-discipline to keep your thoughts on your goals and dreams and keep them off of your doubts and fears. You need self-discipline to respond positively and constructively in the face of every difficulty. Perhaps the most important demonstration of self-discipline is your level of persistence when the going gets tough. Persistence is self-discipline in action. Persistence is the true measure of individual human character. Your persistence is, in fact, your real measure of your belief in yourself and your ability to succeed. Each time that you persist in the face of adversity and disappointment, you build up the habit of persistence. You build pride, power, and self-esteem into your character and your personality. You become stronger and more resolute. You deepen your levels of self-discipline and personal strength. You develop in yourself the iron quality of success, the one quality that will carry you forward and over any obstacle that life can throw in your path. Successful business people and entrepreneurs are all characterized by indomitable willpower and unshakable persistence. In 1895, America was in the grip of a terrible depression. A man living in the Midwest lost his hotel in the midst of this depression and decided to write a book to motivate and inspire others to persist and carry on in spite of the difficulties facing the nation. His name was Orison Swett Marden. He took a room above a livery stable, and for an entire year he worked night and day writing a book by hand, which he entitled Pushing to the Front. Late one evening, he finally finished the last page of his book, and being tired and hungry, he went down the street to a small cafe for dinner. While he was away for an hour, the livery stable caught on fire, and by the time he got back, his entire manuscript, more than 800 pages, had been destroyed by the flames. Nonetheless, drawing on his inner resources and practicing what he was preaching, he sat down and spent another year writing the book over again from scratch. When the book was finished, he offered it to various publishers, but no one seemed to be interested in a motivational book with the country in such a depression and unemployment so high. He then moved to Chicago and took another job. One day he mentioned this manuscript to a friend of his who happened to know a publisher. The rest is history. The book, Pushing to the Front, was subsequently published and became the runaway bestseller in the nation. Pushing to the Front was acclaimed by the leading business people and politicians in America as being the book that brought America into the 20th century. It exerted an enormous impact on the minds of decision-makers throughout the country and became the greatest single classic in all of personal development. People like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, and J.P. Morgan all read this book and were inspired by it. Orson Swett Marden says in his book that there are two essential requirements for success. The first is get-to-itiveness, and the second is stick-to-itiveness. He wrote, "No, there is no failure for the man who realizes his power, who never knows when he is beaten. There is no failure for the determined endeavor, the unconquerable will. There is no failure for the man who gets up every time he falls, who rebounds like a rubber ball, who persists when everyone else gives up, who pushes on when everyone else turns back." Confucius said more than 4,000 years ago, "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." James J. Corbett, one of the first world heavyweight boxing champions, said that, "You become a champion by fighting one more round. When things are tough, you fight one more round." Yogi Berra said, "It's not over until it's over." And the fact is that it's never over as long as you continue to persist. Albert Hubbard wrote, "There is no failure except in no longer trying. There is no defeat except from within. No really insurmountable barrier except our own inherent weakness of purpose." Vince Lombardi said, "It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up again." All of these successful men and women had learned how critical the quality of persistence is in achieving greater goals and objectives. Successful men and women are hallmarked by their incredible persistence, by their refusal to quit no matter what the external circumstances. The one quality that absolutely guarantees success in business, in financial accumulation, and in life is this indomitable willpower and the willingness to stick at it when everything in you wants to stop and rest or go back and do something else. Perhaps your greatest asset is simply your ability to keep at it longer than anyone else. B.C. Forbes, the founder of Forbes magazine, who built it into a major publication during the darkest days of the Depression, wrote, "History has demonstrated that the most notable winners usually encountered heartbreaking obstacles before they triumphed. They won because they refused to become discouraged by their defeat." John D. Rockefeller, at one time the richest self-made man in the world, wrote, "I do not think there is any other quality so essential to success of any kind as the quality of perseverance. It overcomes almost everything, even nature." Conrad Hilton, who started with a dream and a small hotel in Lubbock, Texas, and went on to build one of the most successful hotel corporations in the world, said, "Success seems to be connected with action. Successful men keep moving. They make mistakes, but they don't quit." Thomas Edison, the greatest failure and also the greatest success in the history of invention, failed at more experiments than any other inventor of the 20th century. He also perfected and was granted more patents for commercial processes than any other inventor of his age. He described his philosophy in these words, "When I have fully decided that a result is worth getting, I go ahead on it and make trial after trial until it comes. Nearly every man who develops an idea works it up to the point where it looks impossible and then gets discouraged. That's not the place to become discouraged." Alexander Graham Bell talked about persistence in these words. He said, "Whatever this power is, I cannot say. All I know is that it exists and that it becomes available only when a man is in that state of mind in which he knows exactly what he wants and is fully determined not to quit until he finds it." Rennie McPherson, who built Dana Corporation into one of the great American success stories, summarized his philosophy by saying, "You just keep pushing. You just keep pushing. I made every mistake that could be made, but I just kept pushing." There's an interesting and important paradox in life that you need to be aware of. It is that if you are an intelligent person, you do everything possible to organize your life in such a way that you minimize and avoid adversity and disappointment. This is a sensible and rational thing to do. All intelligent people, following the path of least resistance to achieve their goals, do everything possible to minimize the number of difficulties and obstacles that they will face in their day-to-day activities. Yet, in spite of our best efforts, disappointments and adversity are normal and natural, unavoidable parts of life. Benjamin Franklin said that the only things that are inevitable are death and taxes, but every bit of experience shows that disappointment is also inevitable. No matter how well you organize yourself and your activities, you will experience countless disappointments, setbacks, obstacles, and adversity over the course of your life. And the higher and more challenging the goals that you set for yourself, the more disappointment and adversity you will experience. This is the paradox. It's impossible for us to evolve and grow and develop to our full potentials except to the degree to which we face adversity and learn from it. All of the great lessons of life come as the result of setbacks and temporary defeats, which we have done our utmost to avoid. Adversity therefore comes unbidden, in spite of our best efforts. And yet without it, we cannot grow into the kind of people who are capable of scaling the heights and achieving great goals. Throughout history, great thinkers have reflected on this paradox and have concluded that adversity is the test that you must pass on the path to accomplishing anything worthwhile. Herodotus, the Greek philosopher, said, "Adversity has the effect of drawing out strength and qualities of a man that would have lain dormant in its absence." The very best qualities of strength, courage, character, and persistence are brought out in you when you face your greatest challenges and you respond to them positively and constructively. Everyone faces difficulties every step of the way. The difference between the high achiever and the low achiever is simply that the high achiever utilizes adversity and struggles for growth, while the low achiever allows difficulties and adversity to overwhelm him or her and leave him or her discouraged and dejected. The work by Abraham Zelznick at Harvard proved that the way you respond to disappointment is usually an accurate predictor of how likely you are to achieve great success. If you respond to disappointment by learning the very most from it, and then by putting it behind you and pressing forward, you are very likely to accomplish great things in the course of your life. This is another remarkable discovery. Your greatest successes almost invariably come one step beyond when everything inside of you says to quit. Men and women throughout history have been amazed to find that their great breakthroughs came about as a result of persisting in the face of disappointment and all evidence to the contrary. This final act of persistence, which is often called the persistence test, seems to precede great achievements of all kinds. Now, here are 3 things you can do immediately to put these ideas into action. First, identify the biggest challenge or problem facing you today on the way to achieving your biggest goal. Imagine that this problem has been sent to test your resolve and desire. Decide that you will never give up. Second, look into every problem, difficulty, obstacle, or setback for the seed of an equal or greater benefit or opportunity. You will always find something that can help you. And third, in every situation, resolve to be solution-oriented and action-oriented. Think always in terms of the things you can do right now to solve your problems or achieve your goals, and then get started. Never give up. You've now learned perhaps the most comprehensive strategy for setting and achieving goals that has ever been recorded in a single program. By practicing these rules and principles, you can accomplish more in the coming months and years than most people accomplish in a lifetime. The most important quality you can develop for lifelong success is the habit of taking action on your plans, goals, ideas, and insights. The more often you try, the sooner you will triumph. There's a direct relationship between the number of things you attempt and your accomplishments in life. Here are the 21 steps for setting and achieving goals and for living a wonderful life. First, unlock your potential. Always remember that your true potential is unlimited. Whatever you have accomplished in life up to now has only been a preparation for the amazing things you can accomplish in the future. Second, take charge of your life. You are completely responsible for everything you are today, for everything you think, say, and do, and for everything you become from this moment forward. Refuse to make excuses or to blame others. Instead, make progress towards your goals every day. Third, create your own future. Imagine that you have no limitations on what you can do, be, or have in the months and years ahead. Think about and plan your future as if you had all the resources you needed to create any life that you desire. Fourth, clarify your values. Your innermost values and convictions define you as a person. Take the time to think through what you really believe in and care about in each area of your life. Refuse to deviate from what you feel is right for you. Fifth, determine your true goals. Decide for yourself what you really want to accomplish in every area of your life. Clarity is essential for happiness and high-performance living. Sixth, decide upon your major definite purpose. You need a central purpose to build your life around. There must be a single goal that will help you to achieve your other goals more than any other. Decide what that goal is for you and then work on it all the time. Seventh, analyze your beliefs. Your beliefs about your own abilities and about the world around you will have more of an impact on your feelings and actions than any other factor. Make sure that your beliefs are positive and consistent with achieving everything that is possible for you. Eighth, start at the beginning. Do a careful analysis of your starting point before you set off toward the achievement of your goal. Determine your exact situation today and be both honest and realistic about what you want to accomplish in the future. 9. Measure your progress. Set clear benchmarks, measures, metrics, and scorecards for yourself on the road to your goals. These measures help you to assess how well you are doing and enable you to make necessary adjustments and corrections as you go along. 10. Eliminate the roadblocks. Success boils down to the ability to solve problems and remove obstacles on the path to your goal. Fortunately, problem solving is a skill you can master with practice and thereby achieve your goals faster than you ever thought possible. 11. Become an expert in your field. You have within you right now the ability to be one of the very best at what you do, to join the top 10% in your field. Set this as a goal. Work on it every day, and never stop working at it until you get there. 12. Get around the right people. Your choices of people with whom to live, work, and socialize will have more of an effect on your success than any other factor. Resolve today to associate only with people you like, respect, and admire. Fly with the eagles if you want to be an eagle yourself. 13. Make a plan of action. An ordinary person with a well-thought-out plan will run circles around a genius without one. Your ability to plan and organize in advance will enable you to accomplish even the biggest and most complex goals. 14. Manage your time well. Learn how to double and triple your productivity, performance, and output by practicing practical and proven time management principles. Always set priorities before you begin, and then concentrate on the most valuable use of your time. 15. Review your goals regularly. Take time every day, every week, every month to review and reevaluate your goals and objectives. Make sure that you are still on track and that you are still working toward things that are important to you. Be prepared to modify your goals and plans with new information. 16. Visualize your goals continually. Direct the movies of your mind. Your imagination is your preview of your life's coming attractions. Repeatedly see your goals as if they already existed. Your clear, exciting mental images activate all your mental powers and attract your goals into your life. 17. Activate your superconscious mind. You have within you and around you an incredible power that will bring you everything and anything you want or need. Take the time regularly to tap into this amazing source of ideas and insights for goal attainment. Number 18, remain flexible at all times. Be clear about your goal, but be flexible about the process of achieving it. Be constantly open and aware to new, better, faster, cheaper ways to achieve the same result. And if something is not working, be willing to try a different approach. Number 19, unlock your inborn creativity. You have more creative ability to solve problems and come up with new and better ways for goal attainment than you have ever used. You are a potential genius. You can tap into your intelligence to overcome any obstacle and achieve any goal you can set for yourself. Number 20, do something every day. Use the momentum principle of success by getting started towards your goal and then doing something every day that moves you closer to what you want to accomplish. Action orientation is essential to your success. And finally, number 21, persist until you succeed. In the final analysis, your ability to persist longer than anyone else is the one quality that will guarantee great success in life. Persistence is self-discipline in action and is the true measure of your belief in yourself. Resolve in advance that you will never, never give up. Well, there they are, the 21 most important principles of goal setting and goal achieving ever discovered. Your regular review and practice of these principles will enable you to live an extraordinary life. Nothing can stop you now. Good luck, and thank you for listening.